Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea, I hope you're all well. So the world of guitar related products, accessories and items is vast, and I wanted to make this video just to shed a bit of light on some of the products that I use that essentially make my life way easier, whether it be on stage, on tour, in the studio, or if I just want to keep on top of my guitars with regards to maintenance. I'm an Ernie Ball artist and they make a ton of accessories, but there are accessories out there that maybe they don't make, or just things that I've used over the years of playing guitar that I just can't live without because they do the thing that I'm so attached to. One of those being GHS Fast Fret. So if you've watched my channel for a long time, you'll have seen tins of this all over my studios, wherever I go. I cannot live without this stuff. I can't really play guitar without this stuff. I know that seems like a ridiculous statement, but GHS Fast Fret is a product that essentially lubricates your strings. It's meant to prolong fretboard life, prolong string life, all that kind of stuff. But really, I just see it as string lube. And a quick bit of backstory, when I very first picked up a guitar, I got my dad's guitar, opened the case, and there was a tin of Fast Fret in there. He obviously used it as well. And I read on the back and it said like apply before and after playing. And I read all the things that it did. And I just assumed that's what you're supposed to do when you play guitar. So from day one of me playing, I've used this stuff. And I think that's why nowadays I can't really live without it. Sticking on the theme of lubricant, I also really enjoy using nut sauce.
Nice.
There are loads of different versions of this. Nut lubricant, saddle lubricant. This one is a Dunlop one. It's called Super Lube Gel Pen. And I really enjoy the way that you apply this. You essentially have a twist end and it sort of squeezes the lubricant out and you apply it like a pen. So you put it in the nut slots, you can put it in the saddle slots, and it's designed to essentially allow the strings to pass over those 2 points of contact really smoothly, because sometimes those things stick when you're trying to tune up. This is really annoying live. Sometimes when you're trying to tune up and it's just not going in and you're panicking in between songs like I really need this to get in tune, this will help you. As I say, there are loads of different iterations of this kind of product. This is just the one that I've had in my touring guitar case for a long time, and it still hasn't run out, so that's very useful. The next item that I cannot live without, and it's a very specific one, but everyone has a string winder, right? When if you don't have a string winder, I recommend getting one because restringing guitars is way quicker with the string winder. But the string winder that I love and that I can't live without, and I've hoarded these over the years. They don't make them anymore, but this is a Planet Waves string winder. Now Planet Waves is owned by D'Addario, and this particular string winder is amazing because it has clippers on the end to clip your strings. It's a string winder, of course, and then it also kind of has a groove in it that allows you to stretch the strings, which I don't really use, but it's kind of a nice design. I don't know if that was intentional, but the main reason that I love these is because you can wind the string and then you can clip off the end of the string at the machine head.
What the f?
And the next product working on strings and restringing your guitar and maintaining it is a string stretcher. Now this thing, I don't know how common these are. I got given this by Andrew Groves of Arcane Roots years ago on tour, and essentially it's a grip and it has two grooves. There's a groove here and a groove here, and essentially you hook it under the string, you pull back and it stretches, and you can slide it up and down the fretboard to get the stretch in the string. Now, I remember showing this to Rob and he laughed in my face. He was like, you could just use your hand. And I'm sure many of you are probably thinking the exact same thing. But it's nice because the way it's designed allows you to have the sort of same tension all the way up and down, rather than sometimes I've over pulled with my hands and snapped a string. It's part of the process, part of the ritual. And it's just always stayed in my touring guitar case because when I'm restringing, it's just a nice quick up and down twice. The string's stretched in, it's done, it's good to go. So the next one is a cable tester. I got given this by Max. It's a D'Addario cable tester. You plug it in and it tells you if it works. You've got two green lights that says the sleeve and the tip are connected. If the short light comes up, it essentially means the cable isn't working and it's going to cause you some problems. Now, I'm sure you guys have been at gigs where you're essentially, plugged your pedal board in, something's gone wrong.
Ay, cabrón, no mames.
Process of elimination is going to kill me right now. I've got all these pedals, all these patch cables. Which cable is it going to be? And how am I going to figure it out in a bind really quickly, sound check, whatever it is? Something like this will speed that process up super quickly because you just plug it in and it's going to tell you if that cable works or not, and you can just get through all of those cables a lot quicker. It's happened to me before. I really panicked and I didn't have a cable tester at the time. So having a cable tester I think is incredibly handy. Once again, loads of different versions of cable testers out there. The next one is more of a modern luxury that's been more popular in recent years, but it has definitely leveled out my anxiety when traveling with guitars, is an AirTag. Now, I keep mine in this little plastic bag. It's an Apple AirTag. It goes in my guitar case and it goes in my pedal board and it goes in my luggage whenever I'm traveling for gigs. And it essentially allows me to track the position and the location of the item. So even if I arrive back at Gatwick, I can see my guitar is still in Germany or wherever the hell it is. At least I know where it is and I can see that it's, you know, still there. This next one is really useful for guitar maintenance in general, but I would always recommend in your guitar case having a little toolkit. I've just ordered some new tools because Max is an amazing guitar tech.
I tried.
And he's recommended some new tools for me to get that are going to be really useful for traveling and just generally maintenance. But I keep this in my guitar case. This is a Magnuson. It's a little mini screwdriver kit. And it essentially just has different ends that I can change out, which allow me to, you know, adjust things like truss rod, allows me to adjust saddles. It allows me to open the back plate of my guitar for whatever reason I need to get in there. Maybe I need to do a pickup change or like resolder something. Just having something like that in your guitar case or nearby is very useful. I also really love this one. This is the Ernie Ball toolkit, which I think is absolutely fantastic because it comes with, well, half of the stuff's not in there, it's upstairs, but it comes with a vast array of Allen keys. It's got action gauges, it's got a polishing cloth, it's got wipes to wipe down your fretboard. It comes with a pair of string clippers, a string winder. There's a bunch of different things in there that it comes with, which is very handy. Next up is something that definitely as a touring guitarist, I think is very useful, and that is a Luminous Tape. Now, if you're just a home player or a bedroom player or you just work in studios, maybe not, but when you're out on tour or you're traveling a lot, this is very useful because you can label your stuff, you can make sure to identify which is yours. There's lots of different colors, whether it's orange, yellow, blue, pink, or green, and essentially it allows me to just put it on all my items, get a Sharpie, write on, I know it's mine. So I highly recommend using this if you're out on tour or you travel a lot and you need to make sure that you can label your gear. Yeah, a Luminous Tape. The next item, which I don't actually have physically on me, but I'll get John to put up a picture of it on screen, is a microphone stand pick holder. All my pick holders are in different cases and I can't be bothered to fish them out, but these are immensely useful if you're out gigging a lot and you're out on tour and you're doing festivals or whatever. If you drop a pick mid-set and you don't have one on your mic stand, that's a bit of a panic. I've done it before where I used to put them on top of my amp heads, facing the right way so I can just quickly grab it off the top of the amp head and carry on playing. I've made mistakes where they've been in my pocket and I'm like, how am I going to get my hand in my pocket and grab one pick out and play? You could do it with some gaffer tape on a mic stand. And it's also worth saying, even if you don't sing or do backing vocals or anything, still get a mic stand, put a little bit of gaffer tape or get one of those pick holders. I think Dunlop make them, and just have some picks ready to go. So if you drop one, you can just quickly grab it and crack on. I think lifesaver. Although I would say, and that's where this stuff once again comes in useful, is label it and make sure that it's bright, because I've left them on mic stands at so many gigs. Speaking of picks, now this is where obviously shameless plug, but picks, I can't live without a good pick, and I have my own picks, my Dunlop Rabea Massaad flow picks, and these are 1mm Ultex flow picks that since designing these with Dunlop, I haven't used another pick or needed to look for another pick. We all know that journey of trying to find the perfect pick.
It comes complete with fishing line, needle and thread for sewing gashes back together, and an incredibly useful and durable toothpick. There's a saw for building your own hut, toilet paper, and a fold-out woman for company, as well as a serrated blade that can kill a man before he can scream.
That'll shut you up.
I mean, let's put it this way. This is a bag of every single Dunlop pick that they sent me when I was designing this pick. Definitely recommend spending a bit of time experimenting with different picks and materials until you find the one that really does make you feel like you're playing better. That's a really important thing, it's part of the process. So yeah, recommend that. And the next one, again, I suppose sort of a shameless plug, but not really, because they're not actually out in the world yet, but it's the right string gauge. You've experimented with different string gauges. Obviously, if you're playing many different tunings, it's important to use different string gauges. If I'm playing in standard, I use 9s because I like the slinkiness. If I go to E flat, I use like either a 9.5 or a 10. If I go down to D standard, I'll use 11s. Anything lower, it just incrementally goes up, and that's how I like to think about it. It's important to get the tension right so that it kind of feels the same as playing a standard 9 or 10 if you like that. As you go lower, the tension wants to feel the same. So 11s, a whole tone down, sort of feels like 9.5 to 10 in standard tuning. On my baritones, I use a 14 to 68 gauge, which isn't really representative of playing 9s in standard at all, but it's the right tension for me for playing lower, heavier guitar tunings. At the minute, I'm using a custom set of slinkies, which are essentially 11 to 56. I've coined these Henchman Slinky, and I'm hoping that at some point Ernie Ball and myself will release these as an actual pack you can get, designed to use in D standard or drop C. When playing guitar and touring and on stage, or just standing up and playing, it's important to find the right guitar strap for yourself. And there are many different guitar straps and many different guitar strap manufacturers. And one of the guitar straps that I've used since 2007 maybe, that I've just sworn by ever since, and maybe it's because it came on my Washburn Nuno guitars as a standard and I just got used to the way they feel, is the Damasio clip lock locking strap. So I have them on all my guitars. And the way it works is essentially you take the pin, the strap pin off your guitar, and you replace it with this little clip, and the screw is very long. It's like, it goes right in. And it comes with like a couple of bushings so that it can spin freely. And then it has a plastic clip that apparently is military grade parachute plastic, or so I was told. The material is like a seatbelt material. The one thing that I really enjoyed about it when I was a much bigger person, when I was way more overweight, was that I could actually adjust it. It was a really long strap. So I was able to adjust it so that I could get the right height. Some straps, especially ones where you have to thread the sort of butt end of the guitar strap through like some slots, they really annoy me, because it's like if I want to adjust it, it's either too long, too short, and then you have to faff around slotting it through. Something like this, where you just got a simple adjuster, sort of whatever you want to call that, and you can adjust the strap length. I never fear about the guitar just dropping and falling and being a problem and breaking or anything when I've been using these. I did for a time actually use the D'Addario locking clip strap thing. So it's like similar material, but it has this like little mechanism on the end here, which as soon as it goes over the strap pin, it locks in place and it really doesn't come off. And I found them really quite impressive. But the one flaw in them that I found was that if you sweat a lot and sweat gets into that spring mechanism, it seizes up, and then obviously you could use WD-40 or some lubricant to get it back, but some of them have been so badly rusted that I can't use them, because as soon as you open it, it stays upright, and then the guitar runs the risk of falling out of the strap. So going back to the Damasio locking strap, I think these for me just do the job better than any other strap. Super strong, super sturdy. I've got nothing to worry about there, and as I say, I've been using them a long time, so I feel like I've got a good experience with that particular product to say it does the job. And another useful item that I think is important, especially if you gig a lot or you like to keep on top of the way your guitars look, is a polishing cloth. This is an Ernie Ball microfiber polishing cloth. I take this with me on tour. After every gig, I sweat a lot, so when there's sweat all over my guitar, I can grab this, buff the guitar down, keep it looking nice and fresh for the next show, because there's nothing worse, especially on a matte finish guitar. Well, in fact, on any finished guitar, seeing those sweat, dribbling off the guitar, I think that's pretty gross. The only time I did like the way it looked was on my Relic Chapman, because the way I'd finished that was that the sweat would almost soak into the wood, decolor it, which kind of worked. I'm not sure it was very good for the longevity of that guitar and the wood, but it did look cool. But that's a very unique situation. Generally speaking, a good polishing cloth, I think, is useful, and it makes your life easier, especially if you like to keep on top of the aesthetics of your guitar. Now, I could go on. Obviously, you need a guitar, you need an amp, you need pedal boards, all that kind of stuff, but I was talking more about the accessories and those little things that make your life easier when you're on the road, in the studio, playing gigs, playing shows, or you just like to keep on top of maintenance. There are cables and all that kind of stuff out there, but we're just talking very specifically about more of the accessory side of things. So hopefully some of these products have maybe shed a little light on things that make your life easier, as somebody who tours a lot and travels and plays guitar in all different sort of environments and stuff, I feel like I've got a good grasp of things that over the years have helped me to keep on top of those things, not have to worry as much, lower anxiety levels, and generally keep, you know, my guitars in good nick. So by shedding a little light on those things, hopefully it's helped some of you guys. And I would love to know what you guys use as well, if you're a traveling guitarist or you just have things that really make your life easier in the world of guitar accessories. It's worth reiterating at this point that none of these I'm trying to say you need to buy that exact one. I'm just saying these are the things that I've found that I use and that I've just held on to over the years that just work for me. So this isn't like sponsored by anybody. Like I said, I'm an Ernie Ball artist, so there are certain things I use by Ernie Ball. Hopefully it's been a useful video to you guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section of things that you find useful. I'll put links to all these products in the description box. As always, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and share. I've been Rabea and I'll see you all very soon.